The Adam Smith Awards are globally recognised as the industry benchmark for best practice and innovation in corporate treasury. Throughout this dedicated series, we take a deep dive into each of the winning solutions of 2021 in conversation with the creators themselves.
Hello, I'm Meg Coates at the Treasury Today Group. In this episode, we take a look at the overall and highly commended winners in our Best Supply Chain Finance Solution category. Trading internationally can be challenging, and the past 12 months or so have really shone a light on supply chains. The buyer-seller relationship has never been more important, and we have seen a number of innovative solutions emerge from distributor finance, pre-shipment finance, and receivables discounting to forfeiting, factoring, and payables finance.
And the overall winner of our Best Supply Chain Finance Solution is Julle Pedersen, Treasury Director for Europe, Middle East, India, and Africa at Bridgestone. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations from me as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Julle Pedersen. I'm the treasurer for Bridgestone, Europe, Middle East, Africa and India. And currently I'm also heading the global working group on the sustainable financing for our company. And I'm here to tell you more about our sustainable supply chain financing solution. Well, first of all, I do think that it means a lot because it kind of validates the approach that we took with the program. And we kind of actually value any positive press that we can have around the program, because in the perfect world, it would be great to have other companies to follow this sustainable approach towards supply chain financing. And also, like, while we are sharing our learnings, we would hope to see, others to take the note of those learnings and make it even better, like 2.0 type of approaches. And the hope would be that it could create a bit of a snowball effect, and more of these type of programs are there, more suppliers would be impacted and higher the impact. It was around 2019 when I first heard about the first sustainable supply chain programs initiated or implemented. And to my understanding, those programs were kind of based on the company internal KPIs and company internal due diligence processes. But I really liked the idea already back then. And at the same time, our procurement team was asking from me that, is there anything that we could do to provide liquidity solutions towards our suppliers? So there was really a kind of internal demand for the solution coming up within the company. And, it just was a really natural fit for us because we have our global sustainable procurement policy, and sustainability is pretty much within the DNA of our group. So connecting all of these dots, we kind of ended up issuing an RFP early in 2020 and, really actually approaching 12 participants and really extending the pretty much the whole industry in terms of to see what we could do over here. First of all, I think that it's important to have the top management support on projects of this size. So the first thing was really to pitch the business case and the approach towards the top management. And after that, then, we conducted a multi-functional team, not only involving Treasury, but having a participation from transactional accounting and processing teams, procurement, of course, IT and legal, to make sure that all of the relevant aspects of the program would be assessed as early as possible, and while we were already reviewing at the review stage of different proposals. There are really, I think, multiple learnings, but the number one for me is that there isn't really any good reasons why not to do it. So we really thought that this is a really natural product line to do a sustainable ESG linked financing, because it would be really spreading the impact beyond the company itself. While we were doing it, we kind of also realized that through the transparency on the third party sustainability agency, it will really provide transparency beyond just ourselves. So we really thought that it does give a benefit for all of the buyers, operating within the same marketplace. Back to the multifunctional team point. So this is, of course, very important. You cannot really run this effectively without having a good buy-in on all the teams. We thought already at the beginning, and we still think so, that the technology aspects and the strong banking partners are really important in this as well. And then we have really learned this through the execution as well, that by selecting the strong, well-integrated technology platform, it really helps out in terms of the implementation. And the banking partners, we have all read the press recently. So it is indeed important to make sure that your core partners are embedded within the system. And what I learned from my procurement buddies is that we as a treasurers, it's really our obligation to ask more from our banks and our fintech suppliers, not being satisfied where we might be. And I actually think that that's also one of the key points, is that the main thing is to start, because you can always make it better as well. So by using a third-party rating agencies on the sustainability, we are currently focusing on the top line sustainability score, but certainly as we evolve and the focus will be even more concentrated, we can possibly also fine-tune the program to take the specific KPIs more into account in terms of when we are talking about the pricing, for example.
Next up, we have our first highly commended award in this category.
The first is Fabrice, Director, Business Control Supply Management at Tetra Pak International.
I am Fabrice D'Agostino, Director Business Control Supplier Management at Tetra Pak. Together with my team, we are honored to be the highly commended winner of the Supply Chain Finance Solution Award. Winning this award is recognizing the efforts done by our committed colleagues, which have put a lot of energy to set a supply chain financing solution in Tetra Pak. It shows that the collaboration with a trusted financial partner like Citi helps to have a solution which can be implemented in all parts of the world. With this award, we demonstrate to our stakeholders and to our suppliers that we have a solution that we can trust and which is delivering the results expected initially. The biggest challenge we had to address is the essence of the supply chain financing setup. We need to have at the same time and ready to operate 4 very different teams, with all having different timings and expectations. First, you need a supplier motivated to enter in a supply chain agreement with us, Tetra Pak. Secondly, you need an automated interface between the bank, the supplier, and Tetra Pak to monitor invoices traffic. Third, you need an automated way to transfer invoices from our ERP system to Citi in a smooth way, and this has to be developed. Then we have an engaged supplier management team in Tetra Pak who has been discussing with suppliers and managing the time. In our case, it was even a little more complicated, as we are a company dealing with suppliers worldwide. Unfortunately, you need to have it all ready at the same time. And it's difficult to motivate a supplier if you don't have all tools ready. But you cannot test the tools if you don't have invoices to process and a supplier enrolled. Which one is coming first, the chicken or the egg? This was the major challenge for us. So we managed to overcome all of this thanks to dedicated employees and coordinated activities. First, we started to work with our IT department to draft the solution to transfer in the best possible ways invoices from our ERP to Citi portal. While we were doing this, we had the chance to have one of our long-time supplier ready to participate to this project. Despite the fact that in the beginning we had two ambitious deadlines. With the incredible commitment of all the teams, a working solution was delivered and the supplier could be live with the supply chain financing solution. Our supplier was able to receive his funds the day after he had sent his invoices. I must say that I was very proud to be part of a so efficient solution. One of the most important learning points of the project was that whatever you set as a communication plan, you need to communicate more than what you had originally planned. In our case, we had an exceptional link with Citi with very regular updates, which made this project a success. Being very much oriented outside our organization, we discovered that we had not enough engaged in all our internal stakeholders inside our company. So some part of the company were very much aware that we had a supply chain financing project running, while it was not clear for other geographies or other organizations. So we had to fix this during the implementation. In this type of project, you have a lot of internal organization participating. Our core team was a supplier management business controllers, a finance organization which is very close contact to suppliers and supplier management team. You need to engage all treasury teams in many places in the world, as well as finance process specialists. Talking about finance process specialists, another learning was that one of the key elements to master in supply chain financing is your ability to process invoices rapidly. Therefore, you need finance process specialists to help you to improve your practices. At the end, implementing supply chain financing delivers early payment to your suppliers, forces you to have a faster management of invoices in your organization, while increasing your payment terms.
And now it's time for a word from their partner.
This is Shakib Menturi, and I'm part of Citibank EMIA Trade Client Management Team. I've been part of Citi organization for the past 15 years in different positions and different geography. Tetra Pak is a global player within the food processing and packaging solution. In line with the industry trends, their customers have been asking Tetra Pak to extend their payment terms. In a competitive environment, Tetra Pak has accepted that requirement. On the other side, they do appreciate that this would impact their working capital cycle. Hence, they needed to address the other side of it, which is the procurement and the payable with their suppliers. They've decided to openly discuss with their suppliers an extension of their payment terms, but at the same time, and in order to offset the impact on their suppliers' working capital solution, they've introduced a financing solution for them. This is how Citi was invited to prepare and work on a solution. The requirement from Tetra Pak were fairly simple in paper, whereby they needed a global bank with a global footprint, they needed a global platform, and they needed a centralized team to lead the implementation on our side and make sure that the communication flows are efficient, they're easy, and the whole process would be without any issues at their end. This is how we started the whole project. In terms of how did we support Tetra Pak? So again, we worked on a global implementation solution. We worked on identifying the largest buying entities on their side. Equally, we also worked on a strategy to identify the large global suppliers that would need and would require to join this solution as a first phase. Then once this has been completed, we worked on a marketing and sales communication plan together with our onboarding team. A third point here is we needed to work on a global payment file format that would match their ERP. So together with our technical team and Tetra's IT team, we've developed this file. This file is now implemented in 95% of the countries they've selected as part of their mandate. This allows an easy creation, upload, and processing of all payments host to host from their ERP system into Citi's platform without any manual intervention. All of those considerations, all of those requirements were discussed from the start, and Citi had committed to Tetra as a prime and premium client to deliver within the agreed time frame. Today, as we speak, we've already expanded the program to 4 different continents. There are more than 27 additional countries we have in the pipeline, and all of them would be extending the solution to a larger number of suppliers. So this is, in essence, how Citi has been able to support Tetra's request and also match their expectations, both in terms of technical support, but also in terms of timeline. Tetra Pak was determined to put in place a global program. This clearly would lead to multiple factors that would have to be met before we even get started. And some of the elements that allowed Citi to position themselves and win that mandate from Tetra Pak are our global footprint, the ability to provide the solution for their different subsidiaries across the globe in all regions they've identified on their global list. One additional point is we've been able to provide them with an IT solution that would cover 95% of the designated list of countries and buying entities. As such, the file format we've developed together with their IT team would allow them a fully automated processing of payment files straight from their ERP into our payment platform without any manual intervention and without any additional support required from their side. This has been also an important point, allowing Citi to win that mandate. An additional important point I'd like to mention is the ability from Citi's side to put together a global implementation team, or as we call it, a deal team. The responsibility of that team is to make sure that we deliver the solution globally. We make sure that we provide the client with a clear global process with an efficient and easy implementation steps with a clear indication on what to do next, what would be the timeline, and also guidance in terms of strategy on which entity or which country should go first, depending on our ability to deliver, depending on the availability of suppliers in that specific market, but also in terms of legal documentation execution, technical implementation execution as well. So all of those points allow Citi to position themselves as a winning bank for this mandate. We've also conducted a series of training for the procurement team within Tetra Pak teams that allowed everyone to get familiar with the supply chain finance solution. It also allowed them to understand and be able to position their solution to their own suppliers whenever they have the opportunity. That additional level of comfort put us in contact with all the key stakeholders globally, and they've been able to be vocal and voice out any requirement, any clarification point they needed directly.
And now we have our second highly commended award winner.
The second highly commended winner is Richard Wiles, Assistant Treasurer at Halliburton.
Hello, my name is Richard Wiles. I'm the Assistant Treasurer for Halliburton Company. I am the highly commended winner of the Best Supply Chain Finance Solution for the 2021 Adam Smith Awards. While the program is far from mature, Halliburton has already unlocked an estimated $150 million in working capital benefit globally, helping us achieve our objective of supply chain neutrality, which means aligning vendor and supplier payment terms. Halliburton suppliers have generally welcomed the SCF program. The program offers attractively priced finance to suppliers based on our cost of borrowing. This proved especially important during the rollout, which took place as many firms around the world suffered financial stress due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Where suppliers are unfamiliar with SCF and hesitant about adoption, Citibank works with Halliburton to provide education about the SCF program tailored to that supplier's circumstances. As a result, the program has proved a valuable tool in helping procurement gain acceptance of Halliburton's extended terms. Halliburton will enjoy continued working capital benefits as it extends its SCF program into new markets and identifies additional suppliers in those markets already live. The early success of the SCF program has encouraged Halliburton to take an even more ambitious approach in terms of scope and scale for the program. Beginning in January of 2021, Halliburton's stock price began a precipitous fall as investors began to worry that the emerging coronavirus would be a significant threat to oil and gas demand. As the true nature of the pandemic crisis became clearer, the oil and gas industry in general, and Halliburton specifically, entered a historic downturn. Indeed, in April of 2020, the price of a barrel of West Texas Intermediate crude was negative. In response to the market collapse, Halliburton engaged in an aggressive cost-cutting. It resulted in approximately 40% fewer employees available to execute the supply chain finance initiative. On top of that, both Halliburton and Citibank were given strict work-from-home orders beginning in mid-March of 2020. That means that the entire international rollout would need to be done remotely. Despite these historic headwinds, Citi found that in the first 90 days of the program, Halliburton was able to onboard the most spend of any program launch the bank has ever led. In addition, Halliburton was able to onboard the second highest number of vendors that the bank has seen in that first 90 days. Within Halliburton, there was strong alignment between Treasury, Finance, Procurement, and IT. In addition to Halliburton's CFO being the executive sponsor, the head of procurement was part of the group responsible for implementation. This alignment, at both the senior level and across the organizations, ensured there were no silo issues in any function. Moreover, Finance emphasized the importance of the project to Halliburton by agreeing to pay for the costs associated with implementation, including IT. The importance of the alignment between the organizations cannot be overstated. Many SCF programs suffer from the problems caused by various functions within a company, perceiving that the program delivers greater benefits to other functions. At Halliburton, the organizational commitment to working capital excellence, combined with strong personal commitment and agreement at the highest levels, meant that everybody was pulling in the same direction. At the same time, our partner, Citibank, is a centralized and global organization which was able to fully align with Halliburton's project team. Halliburton had a single point of contact at Citi to develop and implement the program. Whatever we put in place centrally was replicated in other regions as we extended. By the same token, the central organization continued to have complete visibility and control of the project. While there were a large handful of challenges encountered during the implementation, many due to regulatory or pandemic issues, the alignment between Halliburton, Citibank, and the crossing of silos within each organization led to a successful implementation.
And now it's time for a word from their partner.
Hi, I'm Christine Nick-Williams, the Global Head of Commodity and Energy Trade in the Treasury and Trade Solutions practice of Citi. And we had the honor of helping Halliburton roll out their supplier finance program starting in late 2019, and the program is still active today. When Halliburton chose supplier finance, their goals were to improve their cash flow and working capital while not placing undue pressure on suppliers. The challenge was that use of supplier finance was not widespread in the energy sector at the start of late 2019, start of 2020, just as the program was entering full implementations. Also, as the program started to take off in early 2020, it was evident that both Halliburton and the global economy were facing unprecedented stress due in part to the pandemic. Yet, although there were some significant staff reductions and work from home orders within Halliburton and then work from home orders for Citi as well, the team collaborated very closely to reach the objectives of the program. And Citi was selected because of our genuinely global solution, which meant that our network matched Halliburton's footprint, and our global platform would allow them to see all of their countries in one dashboard. Also, our 20 years of experience in supplier finance allowed us to bring a more strategic approach to deployment and ongoing program management. And we were able to be real advisors and collaborators along the way through the program. And in fact, this program onboarded the most spend and the largest number of vendors in a 10-month timeframe of any program in Citi's history with supplier finance, and all of that during a pandemic lockdown. So when I think about the most important elements of the solution and the key reasons why the program was successful, I really think of three things. First, the dual goals of procurement and treasury to unlock working capital while strengthening supplier relationships was the reason that Halliburton chose supplier finance. And one of the key reasons that they were successful in a very short time frame. There was a very lockstep meeting of the minds between procurement, finance, and accounting in the treasury groups. Second, Citi brings a global team and a single program manager to each program. So Halliburton had a single point of contact at Citi across all the countries. So while we had folks in country with jurisdictional knowledge, that was all centralized and central communication, which meant that there was a lot more visibility and control over the project. And third, Citi and Halliburton partnered around a very strategic approach to educating and onboarding suppliers. So we brought our best practices, and Halliburton brought a deep knowledge of their supplier relationships. And together we were able to communicate and educate to suppliers, which I mentioned, supplier finance is still relatively new in the energy space. So this kind of collaboration and thoughtful partnership around approach to suppliers was really key to their success. And actually, let me slip in a fourth element. There was really just such a great team spirit between Citi and Halliburton. It was truly a collaboration, a real alliance to achieve something impactful. And getting to the metrics that this program got to was absolutely important. But what was equally important and amazing was the feeling of being part of a team that accomplished something during a time of incredible industry and global stress. And that is really part of what makes this program so memorable.
A huge congratulations to all our Adam Smith Awards 2021 winners. Thank you for listening to this episode of our dedicated Adam Smith Awards podcast series, brought to you by the Treasury Today Group. More episodes will be coming soon featuring other award-winning solutions, so please subscribe to our channel so you can stay updated wherever you get your podcasts.